off.
This is a passenger announcement. Cook Strait and Tram Parsonage. Please make yourself known to the crew member in Hector's shop.
We crossed the Cook Strait from Wellington to Picton on Monday, May 15th, and I'm here to share my experiences, maybe go in a little detail on some of the pricing, some of the epic views that you get to see. Here we go, getting on the ferry. This is supposed to be one of the most beautiful ferry rides in the world. Now, when you're looking at booking a ferry, it looks like you got two major options, Blue Bridge or Inter-Islander. We went with Inter-Island, mainly just because we have like an AA membership and they offered a discount on the ferry. But after looking up some pricing, I will say that the Blue Ridge is a little more cost effective in like every single category that I researched. Plus, they have 4 voyages every single day, where the Inter-Islander only has 3. But like, whoa, hold on a second here. The pricing to get on this ferry is a little bit more money than I was expecting, number one. If you have a camper van, wow, you're really gonna need a budget if you plan on taking that ferry. That's a lot of money. I thought it'd be a quick, $100, $200. Now, I just picked like a random Wednesday in July to get the pricing between Blue Bridge and Inter-Islander. It could very well change. It could be more money on the weekends. That's like, I guess, the dead of winter here, so could be more money in the summertime. If you are looking at going, make sure that you look into it yourself. And one thing that I have heard is book as soon as you can. If you have your dates, try and get in and try and get your ticket booked right away. These ferries can fill up like pretty quickly, like months in advance. So if you know, just book it. We booked ours, I think, 8 weeks out, and we were kind of limited for what days we could do it. So we checked into the ferry about like an hour before we had to depart, and honestly, the process with Inter-Islander was really well organized. It was super easy to get and wait in line, and then just getting on the ship. Everyone's telling you where to go. Like, it couldn't be easier. Just make sure you don't miss your check-in time. And it's good to mention that the loading bay where you park your car is going to be closed for the majority, if not all, of your trip. If you have anything in the car that you need to bring, grab it and take it with you. We climbed up the stairs, got some of the first views of the passenger deck, and we noticed that there's some really comfy seats. Looks like there's some awesome lounge areas everywhere. Like to see that. There's a food court, and I gotta say, we were a bunch of us were just all getting up to the passenger deck. This one guy's walking out of the food court with a massive plate of meat and potatoes and gravy. Good on you, man. I don't know if he got there early to get the best food or what. He seemed pretty into it. I only had a beer and a piece of banana bread, so I can't talk about the food too much, but I can say that there's fish and chips, which isn't surprising, but they had some Indian cuisine. They had a bunch of different snacks, sandwiches, wraps, a lot of different food options there. Pricing wasn't the best. It wasn't way out to lunch in my opinion. Some of the beer pricing was, but whatever. But yeah, you keep walking around, there's a cool small cinema, and they actually had a movie that was in theaters still playing there. I think it was Mario Brothers, Super Smash Brothers, something like that. So I think if you paid $10, you could go and watch a movie and kill 2 hours of time. There was a bar towards the front kind of observation deck. There's a couple TVs, cool little lounge area. That was probably my favorite. There was no shortage of charging spots or things like that. But for me, the best part was the observation deck at the front of the ship. I mean, we explored Wellington that day, but just kind of being in the bay and getting the view at that time was really nice. I mean, you're close to Sky Stadium, you can see the Blue Bridge ferry and pretty much the whole Bay of Wellington, just looking up at all these hills and houses on the hills. As I said in the last video, we ended up changing the time of our ferry from 8 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoons. So we knew that we were going to get some really cool golden hour views across the Cook Strait. Getting into the Marlborough Sounds, it was going to be a little bit dark. Either way, we got to enjoy Wellington. We were happy about that. Sailing through the Wellington Harbour at that time of day is just an absolute treat. And the way that the landscape is shaped, it physically opens up towards the South Island. If you didn't think you were on a journey before, you sure do now. Got our last view of Wellington and the North Island, seeing the hills and the lighthouses before heading to the open water. One thing that stood out to me immediately is the view that you get of the South Island. The Cook Strait isn't that wide, but it's just cool when you can see another piece of land to me. I don't know. It's just when you can see England from France and you're oh, I didn't think that you could. Guess that wouldn't have really been difficult for me to look up, but yeah, okay, cool. Now that I'm here, yeah, really cool. I get it. We got really lucky. The waters were super calm the day that we went. A couple cool swells that, kind of made the boat feel a little movement, but nothing crazy. There have been a few cases where ships have unfortunately been caught in a storm and crashed. Doesn't look like there's been a major event since like the late 1960s. But even earlier this year, in February of 2023, an inter-islander ship lost power, kind of swayed. It started going towards the North Island, and thankfully, nothing bad happened. They were able to drop the anchors and get some tugboats out, and everyone's fine, and I think they're only delayed a few hours, but stuff happens out there. The Cook Strait can be a dangerous stretch of water to pass. All the wind coming in from the west is kind of diverted into this channel due to the mountains and the hills both on the North and South Island, causing the winds to pick up extremely quick, and that brings in some pretty decent sized swells. As soon as we were starting to come towards land, the sun had already gone down, so we're getting this really cool kind of different light. This is where it would have been really nice to have our original, daytime ferry book to see everything that there is to see at this point in time. But I will say that this was still really cool, very unique. To witness the silhouette from all the hills and mountains in the area, oh man, that was pretty nice to look at. Made our way through the Queen Charlotte Sound, the stars started appearing, gave us a pretty decent show before getting to Picton, and then, showing up in Picton, everything all lit up, just that beautiful reflection along the water.
Your attention please, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Picton, gateway to the South Island.
I've taken a few ferries in my life, the Georgia Strait from Vancouver to Victoria and Vancouver to Nanaimo a few times, across the English Channel from Calais to Dover in England. All of those are really scenic and so worth it. But there was something about this one that was just really special. Best ferry I've ever taken in my life. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. That helps a lot. We'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.